Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope everyone who's tuning in today is doing super fantastic. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say make sure you're following me on my socials at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. I'm genuinely curious. Everything is going to be linked in the description. The sun is finally out, guys. Oh my gosh. I think we went about 7 or 8 days without any type of sunlight. Okay, I know I'm over exaggerating because even though it's cloudy, the sun is still out, because if the sun actually wasn't showing at 0%, there was just absolutely nothing there, we would all be dead and blah blah blah. But when the sun is shining, I just feel like the vibes are just so much different, more energetic, much happier. And for a good 7 or 8 days, it was just very, very cloudy and rainy. And I don't think that was a good start to my first full week of school. No, it was not. I was struggling. I was irritated half of the time. Maybe I don't think the weather, okay, the weather did not play a big role in it, but I think that the weather kind of played some type of role in it, because I feel like if the sun is shining and you're absorbing that vitamin D, you kind of feel happy and feel like you could take on anything and you just want to go outside and do stuff. When it's cloudy, you just want to stay in bed and sleep. And that was helping me in my 10:45 a.m. class. So I'm just glad that the sun is back out. And speaking of that 10:45 a.m. class, after that class, see, I posted this on my story. Apparently there's something called ugly fruit. Yeah, how do we get to that? Let me tell you. I posted on my story. I went to the deli with some of my friends after my 10:45 a.m. class. And when we went inside, one of my friends, he saw the packaging of one of the dried fruit that was on the wall. And it literally said, "Hello, I'm ugly." So he pointed at it, and then he literally turned to me and was like, "Hey, this is specifically for you." And I'm like, what is he talking about? So I look at the package and it says, "Hello, I'm ugly." And I'm like, it was a joke. It was a joke, all fun and games, blah, blah, blah. But I posted it on my story and I was like, oh, this is some interesting packaging. I wonder what was going through their heads when they came up with the name. Apparently, there are certain kinds of fruit that get rejected by supermarkets because they're not good looking or something like that. I don't remember wholeheartedly. It's been a couple days since I've gotten a slew of DMs, a slew of messages on this topic. But apparently the supermarkets reject some kinds of fruit, and the delis and smaller stores, I guess, take those fruit when the major supermarkets don't take it. And apparently that brand, a lot of people really like, and their kids like it too. And I'm like, maybe I'll try those one day. So yeah, that's my story about ugly fruit. I'm pretty sure you did not want to hear it, but I felt the need to say it anyways. And this is also a sign to be following me on my socials, especially on Instagram, so you can get updates on what I'm doing in real time on my stories and this and that and the other. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about ugly fruit now. So let's move on to the topic of today's episode, and that is not fitting in. I know I did a couple episodes on this topic about not fitting in and tall women feeling as though they don't fit in, but a lot of that was more so about how to feel better about not fitting in. But today I kind of want to speak about why it's actually a good thing to not fit in. Because you can provide all these tips just how you feel better, blah blah blah, but I feel like a really good way to feel better about it is to kind of do a little mindset shift type of situation, kind of seeing it more as a positive thing than a negative thing, because it actually is important to not fit in. Here's my opinion. Tall girls will never fit in. We're always going to stick out from the crowd. We're always going to be the odd one out in group photos. And we can't always wear the things that other people wear because we can't find it in our size. But not fitting in may actually be a good thing. Let me give you an example. Let's say you walk into a room full of people. Let's say it's a party. The first scenario, when you walk into this party, Everybody is dressed the same. Everybody's hair is the same. Everybody talks the same. Everybody has basically similar personalities, same personalities. They have the same cell phones. They have the same jewelry. Everything about these people are the same. Now, switch over to the second scenario. You walk into a party. And when you walk in there, in the room, you see that everybody is different. Everybody's wearing different clothes. They have different hair types, different hairstyles, different jewelry, different personalities, different ways of speaking. They come from different backgrounds. Which party are you going to choose? Now, I'm pretty sure if you're an introvert, you're probably not going to choose either one of those because you're just going to want to go home. And honestly, same, because I have my moments where I feel like being a homebody and I just don't want to go anywhere or do anything. But let's say you're in the partying mood. Which party would you choose? The first one where everybody's essentially the same person, a carbon copy of each other, or the second one where everybody is different and has different backgrounds? I'm just going to answer for you. You're going to choose the second one. Why are you going to choose the second one? Because the first one is boring. If you're seeing the same thing over and over and over again, if you're hearing the same stuff over and over again, unless it's for a test, you're not going to want to deal with that, okay? The only time that we should be hearing and doing the same thing over and over again is if we're practicing for something, studying, or we're learning a lesson. I'm not going to a party where I hear about the same story about how they found a cat on the street and now they took it home and it's their cat for life. That's just not how I'm trying to do it. But at the second party, you get different personalities, different stories, different ideas, different flavors, and all that good stuff. It keeps things nice and spicy. It keeps things interesting and makes everybody seem interesting. And you're going to want to be around those people more, because my point here is being unique and being different is a strength. Let me tell you. It's hard. Do you know how annoying it is to not be able to borrow clothes from your friends, especially when you need to? How annoying it is to hear the same comments over and over again about your height and body? How frustrating it is to feel out of place all of the time? The tall girlies will understand. It can be hard. And honestly, society never fails to point that out. How different we are, how out of place we are. Not necessarily in a good or bad way, but a prime example is with the clothes. So many trendy pieces that you want to wear, like how I was talking about before with borrowing clothes from your friends. So many trendy pieces, so many things that are so cute, but it's not necessarily wearable by all of the tall women or all women out there because they just don't necessarily fit us to a point where it makes us comfortable. Because it can fit, but if it's not comfortable for us, then it's going to show and there's really no point in wearing it. And it's interesting because I received a comment the other day on my Instagram saying that society doesn't really cater to the needs and preferences of tall women. Clothes are too short, desks and sinks are too low, even bathtubs and bathroom stalls hate us. And that leads to many of our frustrations and insecurities. There are times where I honestly think that being tall can be an isolating experience. Many experiences and many people can make us feel as though we are outsiders. Whether it's the comments that people make or the fact that they just can't relate to our struggles, it can feel pretty lonely at times. And that definitely affects our confidence. And it hurts. And it's annoying and frustrating and tiring and honestly a little bit sad. I personally understand this. That's why I'm happy and grateful that I have the support of my tall girl community that's on my social media and listening to this podcast right now. But let me tell you, being different, being unique, not fitting in is such an amazing thing. Because guess what? The world needs tall people. Who else is going to get something from a high shelf for you? Who else is going to be able to find you in a crowd full of people? Who else is going to give the best hugs? You're welcome. But in all seriousness, we need diversity. We need different perspectives, different ideas, different stories, different viewpoints of the world. And as tall people, we can definitely provide that. Honestly, in anything, it could be race, it could be socioeconomic status, anything. In your hobbies, in your talents, anything. We need diversity. We need that difference. But I can only really speak about tall people right now, tall women, in terms of physical traits and bodily traits. You don't have to be tall just to stick out from the crowd. That's personally what I have most experience in. That's why I am speaking so much about it. And I firmly believe that being tall makes you different and makes you unique in a very good way. Let's try to do a little bit of a mindset shift. So instead of saying I'm too tall, can we say I'm tall and beautiful? Instead of saying I hate when people stare at me, can we say these people recognize my presence and uniqueness? Instead of saying I feel so out of place, can we say I'm amazing in my own way? A positive mindset shift can really work wonders. As an entrepreneurship major, and talking about entrepreneurship majors, a little segue, why are we hating on entrepreneurship majors? I mean, I was in class one day and we were partnered up so we can talk about a question that the teacher asked. And, me and the person I was partnered with, we answered the question and we were just done talking about it. And he was like, oh yeah, like what's your major? It's like, I'm an entrepreneurship major. And he was like, what do you even learn in that major? With a smirk on his face. And it wasn't a thing of curiosity like, yeah, what class are you taking and what are the professors like and all that stuff, because then I would have answered it. But he said it in just such a sarcastic and condescending way that I was just like, wow, that's actually wild. Because you can actually learn cool things in that major, including what I'm about to tell you, and that's reframing the situation. Thinking about it in a different way so you can find a solution for it, a solution that you can implement yourself. So, you can't control what other people do or say or think about you and their stares and their comments and all that, but you can change how you think about the situation. And in doing that, in changing how you think about the situation, you can see things in a more positive light and they can really help with your confidence. So I think that having like a good mindset shift can help you see that your differences are good and important and amazing, because we have so much to provide to the world, and it's not just things for our height. We're also people too. We're also people, and we have our own personalities, our own hobbies, talents, and all these other things that define us. It's not just about our height. Our height is just something that's so minute, so tiny in who we are as a person. And reframing the situation and thinking about it in a more positive way, having that mindset shift and changing what we're saying to ourselves and about ourselves can make a huge difference. So, in conclusion, tall girls are awesome and you can't change my mind. Let me know if you agree. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning into this episode and making it this far. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. As always, feel free to hit me up on my socials at A Tall Girls Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and let me know what you thought about this episode. Did this episode help you make a positive mindset shift about not just your height, but just other aspects of your life too? Do you know about like reframing the situation and stuff like that? We can also talk about that. Or do you want more tips on how to feel better about not fitting in? Or do you need more reasons as to why not fitting in is a good thing? Let me know. I respond to my messages. My DMs are always open. I can't guarantee that I'll respond right away because I am in school. But I will get to the message. Don't you worry. I got you. Anyways, have a good rest of your day, week, month, year, life, and I'll catch you in the next one. Good night and goodbye.